But on social, nobody was doing like do you see the productions they do now? Like the full-on photo shoots, the backdrops. So that no one.
Come on, trendsetter.
I'm on my Soulja Boy shit. Nobody was doing that for us.
Nobody was doing that.
Literally.
Yeah. I see you, Draco. Hello, and welcome back to It Takes a Village to Raise an Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Delina Medhin, and on this show, we talk to creative entrepreneurs about industry business strategy. So this episode, we are talking to Kahh Spence. Kahh is an incredible celebrity hairstylist. His client list is consistent of musicians, a lot of musicians. We actually talk about tour a little bit too. So if you've ever been curious about what life on tour is like, you're gonna love this episode. So his client list includes Kehlani, Jhené Aiko, Kelly Rowland, Ella Mai. And we talk also about what it's like to really be making waves in the industry at such a young age. I think you'll hear in my voice and you'll hear how excited I am to talk to him because I find him very inspiring. And I think that, a lot of times it takes many, 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 many years to get to the level that he has achieved within the entertainment industry. And I think he's done a really, really good job at maintaining his authenticity. And I find that super inspirational. So, okay, let me give you a little summary of what we talk about in this episode. So how to grow with your clients, starting with them as they continue to grow their career into like super stardom. How to balance a relationship and friendship with your celebrity client. How to balance being an influential educator and a hairstylist at the same time. How to close big brand deals. How to become a brand ambassador. How to utilize social media to make money. And how to invest in yourself and create big budget social content with a strategy. That part, I left it at the end because it's really, really cool. There's something that you'll see in terms of how to make a cohesive life that when we're being told a lot of times like niche down, do this, do that. There's something about the way that Kahh is able to tell a story about his life that it doesn't feel like you're learning about different parts of his life, but instead it feels like you're being let into how he's actually living. And I think that that's just such a cool thing. So with that, let's get into the episode and thanks for watching. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so when I think about moguls in the making, that's you.
Oh.
For real. Like when I think about you and the way that you move and how intentional you are about your personal brand, who you are, and then also how you just present yourself with your clients. You create an environment, at least this is from the outside looking in. You tell me what you think. But I feel like from the outside looking in, I watch you have a professionalism with your clients, but also you help them build their brand. You know? I see the curation of the social and how it's so good.
Hey clients.
What's up? Yeah. So I feel like I'm saying that respectfully because I think that anybody who has trust with the people that they work with every day
is important.
It's important. And I think that not everybody has that ability to be able to do that because that's like there's like different levels. Trusted advisor to me is who I see you as with everybody you work with.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful thing for my clients to be able to trust me because I feel like they see something in me that's much different than like what I walked into this even wanting to do. So it's a really cool feeling.
What did you walk into this wanting to do?
I mean, overall, my idea was just to make women feel beautiful. And I'm doing that. Of course, because everyone I work with feels like amazing.
Yeah.
But I think now I've come to a place where I'm like, I see something that you may not necessarily see right in this moment. Or I see the things that you want in the near future, I see them panning out now. And mainly it sparks from the experiences that I've had in my own personal career and, all the advice that I get from so many different people. And I just see how like, if A wants to achieve B, how can we get, like, how can I help you get there while we're in this present time? Because I'm not just here to just do hair. I mean, I'm gifted in so many other ways. Like, I like to look at myself as like we talked about,
Of course.
like an image consultant, but
A
not an image
visionary.
consultant, a visionary.
Yeah.
Because I don't love the title image consultant because I feel like it comes with so much, but I do love the title of a visionary, a creative, a visionary, someone that just has the ability to see and like see, but with like a third eye, not these, but a third eye.
Yeah. I see. It's like it's a fresh thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's also, and it's also about like even having fun.
Yes.
and seeing you be like, you're fun.
Yes.
Right? I have so much fun with you whenever I'm with you, but just to see you do that with your clients where you don't typically see that side of them,
Mm-mm.
but with you you do.
It's so weird.
And it's so cool.
I'm like, y'all are like, when I see them with, I don't know, another person, it's the energy so different. But when I'm there, it's like, a burst of energy. And I was like, what is happening? But I mean, that's just something natural that I've always had. I think I got that from like my mother. Like she was just, like a big, not a jokester, but like she had a really good energy about her if you really got to know her. And I think, the clients that I have, I've been working with them for some years at least. And so having that sort of connection, you get comfortable over time and you get personal, you get personable. I see everything. Like I'm around for everything. And I think we've gotten to that place in our relationships where it's like I can be my most vulnerable self and won't feel judged. And I think that's the biggest part of it, not feeling judged. And I don't judge anybody. Well, I don't judge anybody. I'm very opinionated. I'm very opinionated because one of my clients will tell you I'm very opinionated. I don't judge, like judge from a bad place.
Right.
Like
you have an opinion, and opinions are good. And I think opinions are good in terms of obviously when they're asked for, but I think especially if you're looking at someone as they're in the entire package,
exactly,
because hair isn't just by itself.
No,
it goes on the body.
Yes, it's a part of a trifecta,
a story.
The hair, the makeup, and the wardrobe, they need to be pieced together. And like I was just having this conversation with a client right before this because we were saying it's always a beautiful feeling when stylists understand how to, really carve out one's image by saying, not only do I think this dress fits your silhouette perfectly, but I think this hair goes well with this dress and we should try this on the face because they understand the full overall image of the person. When, some people walk in, they're like, well, I want to do this on the body. I want to do this on the hair. I want to do this on the makeup. And they look like a competing body on a carpet,
and you're like,
in an editorial, in anything. And it's like, how do we get here?
Yeah, I think it's understanding how to be part of a team, right?
Exactly.
Like, and everybody can't be the star of the team. You have to figure out, just like when you do makeup, right? There's a focus feature within the makeup. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a focus feature with the outfit, the hair, the makeup together. The whole thing has to tell a story where it's specific. Do you think that how do you feel like you got that trust? Do you feel like that's just innate? That's you being you?
I think it's me being me.
Yeah.
And simply put, when I first start working with clients, I'm a little shy at first. And I think the reason I'm shy is because I don't ever want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So, I try to keep myself in a shell because once I'm out the shell, oh, baby, there's no going back. Because I'm a big ball of energy. I'm a big personality.
Yeah.
And, I'm very shy at first. And so it takes me, maybe like 1 or 5 like sessions with them to really open up so they, we get to feel each other out a bit more. And then once we're at that place, it's like, okay, I really enjoy him. Let's learn more about each other. And then I'm the type of person where like I could see something, I'm going to say something, even sometimes it might not be asked, but like you might want an opinion. Like right. I'm not the person, if we're in a car together or if we're in a glam session together and someone's like, do you like this? And everyone's like, yeah, I think this is cool. You should do this. Just to be the yes man. I'm not the yes man.
I love that.
This looks nuts. Like, how do we fix this? Mm-hmm. What's happening here? Because I would want somebody to do the same for me with my work.
Yeah. When you started with a lot of your clients too, and I can relate to this, but when you start with your clients and they're at a certain place in their career, do you feel like you had also more influence in that way too? Because it's like you're one of the only people. Like I remember literally walking in and it was just me with my client.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, it was just makeup and we were working on like a web series.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns into, okay, now let's add hair. Okay, now let's add styling. Okay, now. So it's almost, I see that you've grown with some of your clients too.
Mm-hmm.
Does your position change with that? Or do you feel like you're, at that point, they're still like, okay, yeah, this person is somebody I trust. I trusted them before. I continue to trust them. It just continues to grow.
It reminds me of LMA, for example. You know, we started and it was just hair. You know, like she had a stylist, and I believe, I think she was just trialing a few people out. But hair, I've been there since she broke out here in America.
Yeah.
And we've just built a bond ever since then. You know, we were friends at first, which I think is always a good thing. And we've just built a really tight bond. And I think she trusts me with just about anything, like just about anything.
Yeah.
But I think it helps because she values my opinion, even though I'm overly opinionated and she thinks I'm overly opinionated. She values my opinion a lot. And, you know, let's say if I'm like, ooh, I think we should try this today. Or, ooh, let's film this TikTok. You know, she might give me a little pushback, but like, it's like, okay, let's try it. Or if I'm like, oh, for this carpet, let's try this look.
Yeah.
She, you know, she's open, and I love that we've grown to that over time.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it takes people time naturally, but I love that we've had that process to grow over time, and I've been in her career for that amount of time, and we've built that trust.
Do you feel like the line is hard between like friend and client? Like, how do you not? Because I feel like you've navigated well, to be honest. Because it's like, you know, sometimes people say, okay, I'm a friend with this person is my friend, this person is my client. It's like, they're like, don't make your clients your friends. How do you feel about that?
My biggest piece of advice to people, because I say this to people all the time, understand that it's work first. While I have a relationship with my clients, and, you know, just about all of them I consider like family at this point, but like work first. You know, I work first. Like, I think that's the best way to put it. I think people often get too caught up in the lifestyle of it that they don't understand that, like, it's still a job at the end of the day. And I don't ever want to jeopardize my spot.
Right.
Because anyone's on the chopping block at any point.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to do that. And even if, you know, you can ask any of my clients, we could be out at a restaurant. We could on some leisure time, and I see a flyweight in their hair, I'm going to fix it. Mm-hmm. You know, we could be walking down the street. I see a good photo moment, I'm going to take the photo. Like, work first.
Got it.
I don't know. I was going to say, I don't know how I got like this, but I do know how I got like this. Mecca, one of the women that I've been working with for years, Mecca Morhenson, she's like instilled in my brain, work first. And I think I've always just taken that with me.
Okay, when you say work first, because I want to know really what that means, is the first thing I thought of was like showing up on time, you know, making sure that you have certain things. What else would you say? Like, not just in the leisure time, it's more of like, what do you prioritize when it comes to work?
So when I say work first, I mean like, yes, this is my friend.
Right.
But this is still technically a client. This is still technically my boss. They still sign my check. So understand that, like, sure, we can go to the club and party till 4 a.m. and get shit-faced. Mm-hmm. But if call time's at 6 a.m., you make sure you're there on time. You make sure you're showing up with the things you need to show up with. You make sure you're delivering as best as possible. Never get comfortable. Some people get comfortable once they feel like they, you know, have that trust level. Ooh, we're like family now. Like, they trust me with whatever. Like, I can show up 2 hours late. And don't get me wrong, I have my moments where, like, I might show up maybe like 5 or 10 minutes late. Mm-hmm. Y'all, I apologize. But
I'm human.
I'm human. And
I mean, that happens to everybody, though, no matter if that person is
oh, Jesus.
That happens to everybody. You know, sometimes things happen.
Right.
Yeah.
But still showing up and making sure that the job is still getting done and you're putting your best foot forward, never being too lax. I'm never laxed with anything I do because work first.
Yeah. You spoke about Mecca, and I know that you mentioned her, and I looked her up, and I was really interested. So you created this Kahh Spence Beauty brand, and it's showing that both of you are you co-owners in it, or
Mhm.
okay? How did you meet her?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So I'm 27 now. We met when I was 17.
Wow.
So I was planning this like talent showcase in Brooklyn, and I needed a chef. And so someone introduced me to a chef by the name of Omar. He owns Omar's Kitchen in Brooklyn, New York. Um, and Omar was catering the event that I was doing.
Okay.
And Omar said, I was like, Omar, I need help. Like, I need help with the event. Like, put me in the right direction. Because I mean, I knew people at the time, but like, I needed more help. Like, I wanted to really amplify it. And so he introduced me to Mecca. And when I first met Mecca, she was so like stern and like, she was like, this is the dumbest idea I've heard of. Like, you should cancel this. You should save your money and not spend it on this. And from then I was like, I want to have her around. Like,
Yeah.
I like her.
Why? Tell me what was it about her being like, you should cancel this?
I mean, at the time, I was like, "Girl, please, you don't know what she's talking about." But when I look back, I'm like, I like that she was honest. I like that she didn't, not necessarily didn't care about how it made me feel, but didn't care or like wasn't too concerned about, if I would be too, knee deep in my feelings in that moment. But it was like, I see what you're trying to do. Let's reel it back in, figure out a plan, devise it really well, and then move forward because you might be wasting your money. And when we look back, I did waste about $25,000 on an event that I should have never thrown. And so from then we
Very
were
relatable.
like,
Relatable.
yeah, we just make the dumbest mistakes.
Oh,
and so from
man.
there,
Yeah.
we built this really great bond. I was doing her hair and just like we just built this really good connection. And then I started growing more as a hairstylist. And fast forward to some years later, we started working together a bit more. And I believe it was 2017 or 2018, I asked her to come on and manage me. And then
Was she already managing other people, or you were just like, this is a person who I know is going to be a good fit for me?
so Mecca has a background in publicity.
Okay.
And now she's in publishing. She's an owner of a magazine, Pink Magazine. You should check it out. Black woman owned. And I wouldn't say she was managing other people. Like, she does work with Omar on projects. She works with me on projects. She works with Samantha Black, the designer, on projects.
Oh, I like her.
But I was just like, I think she's a good fit. She shows up whenever's needed. It could be a dire emergency on her end, and she'll still show up for somebody else. And that says a lot about someone. It says a lot about their character, and it says a lot about how they value and view you. And I think that showed me that that's someone that I want in my corner. And yeah, I was just like, I think this is a great fit. And we've been working together since 2018. And then in 2019, or was it? Maybe it was 2017.
Okay.
It was one of them. 2019, we decided to start Kahh Spence Beauty. And ever since then, it's just been gradually growing. And I think now we're in a space of, just figuring out like what's next.
Yeah.
With that specifically.
So because when I think about you as a person and as a brand, I think about did you find that it might be limiting to do like a traditional agent because of how, or do you have one? You don't have a traditional agent as well, right? Like Mecca handles you as a person and the Kahh Spence Beauty, or handles just Kahh Spence Beauty?
So I actually just brought on
Okay.
a new team as well.
Okay.
Select Management, but that's more of a talent agency.
Yeah, that's what I see you as, though.
So they don't really handle like more of like the day-to-day stuff or like the stuff with my clients or like that side of my life. They're more so involved in the branding of Kahh Spence as a whole and like really elevating and taking that to the next level, as is Mecca as well. But Mecca now, we're in a space where we're focused more on like Kahh Spence Beauty, and we're focused on, my celebrity clientele and really like shaping that, and like, me figuring out like how I'm going to navigate that and like, the steps I'm going to take and whatnot. So I find that, I think it's a great healthy balance because I think it takes for so long, Mecca was doing everything. Mecca was the business manager, the manager, the talent agent, the everything. And I think we just needed extra bodies, like extra hands. And I think Select is a great team of people. Shout out to Amy and Alexia. And yeah, they have such great plans for me, and Mecca does as well, and so do the rest of the people on the team. Yeah, I'm excited.
So they collaborate to handle your day to day, because I'm trying to understand also your, like, who handles your bookings. Like if somebody was like, oh, I want to book Kahh, would they go directly to
who though? Like a brand or a person?
Ooh, great question. Let's do both.
Like Pepsi reaches out.
Yeah.
Pepsi's probably going to reach out to Select.
Okay, got it.
And then Select is going to, figure out the nooks and crannies,
right,
and then come to me with the offer. And then I'll be like, let's either talk about it and like if I like it, yay, let's do it. And then from there, Select is going to talk to Keith, my attorney. Keith is going to read the agreement, see if there are any bumps and hiccups in there. Mm-hmm. Then from Keith, then it goes back to Select, and then Select communicates with the brand. And then once everything's done, we get paid, comes to my business manager side, and then
I love that.
Now with Mecca, if a client, let's say Ella is doing a cover of a shoot or like walking a carpet or like anything like that, anything with client related specifically, they'll contact Mecca specifically and she'll handle that. Or Kahh Spence Beauty, we work on that together as a whole.
Okay.
But again, still figuring out what's next with that, because we have so many plans with what's happening.
Yeah. The website's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
What's so funny I designed it myself.
Did you?
I did. I had a couple of web designers.
Shout out to you.
Ciao. It was so nerve-wracking. Oh my God. So I had a couple designers on board, and I had designs sent over to me, and we were working on it at the last minute, and it was the morning of 9 a.m. and we were launching at 10 a.m. and I was like, I hate this. And luckily I already had something on backup, but I was like, this isn't my world. My world is using my hands to make somebody look good and just being me. I don't create websites, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit down for at least 2 hours and figure it out. Cry my way through it, but I got it done.
Yeah, it looks incredible. I thought you had a whole team designing that.
No, thank you so much.
Wow.
That was literally all me, start to finish.
Wow. So do you actively pitch yourself for new clients, or do you feel like they come find you? Because I feel like I would come find you. I'd be like, hi. So do you have space?
I do got space. Yeah. I'm looking. It really depends. Yes and no. Some clients I do pitch myself for because I'm like, ooh, I really like this person and I really, really want to work with them and I think we're a great fit together.
Yeah.
But 85% of the time they present themselves to me. Mm-hmm. And then we just kind of go from there.
Yeah. Did you negotiate your own deals before you had someone, or were you always like, I really need someone else to handle?
I've always had someone.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's good. Was that hard for you to find that person?
No.
I love that. You think that was manifestation, or you think it's just listen, I needed it and it showed up, or?
I needed it and it showed up. My friend Brittany Sky was managed by Michelle Jimenez. And, I saw how they work together and I was like, ooh, I'm budding and growing. I need somebody too.
Yeah,
and
of course.
From there, I was like, Michelle and I can work together. And then we worked together for a few years. And then I went on to work with Mecca. And then we're here now.
That's great.
But since the start of really taking off in this space, I've always had someone.
That's good. In terms of social balance and being able to do that, because I think you do a really good job. We were talking about this, obviously not here, but we were talking about it privately. But I feel like your ability to be able to provide commentary on what's happening right now in the industry is just so cool. The red carpet, we don't get that anymore, and we never get it from the perspective of a hairstylist. And it's so, it's brave and it's bold also to have the, you know what I mean, to have like, okay, listen, I'm going to share what my opinion is about this. But I also appreciate it because it's like, it's honest. We need more honesty.
You know, some people are afraid to share their opinion.
Yeah.
And I am very opinionated.
Hear me out.
I am very opinionated.
Yeah. Was that a conversation with yourself like, should we do this? Or was it more like, no, this is a good idea. I'm going to do it. Boom, let's go.
I have a ton of ideas in my head. Probably too many. And I think that was one of the ideas. I was like, I think this will be really good. I was figuring out how to like, so I have a YouTube channel that does fairly well for where it's at.
It does really well. Yeah, I saw that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I want to do something on YouTube, but I was like, let me start it on Instagram.
Okay.
And so I started it on Instagram. People are loving it. Took a pause for a second because I think right now I'm in the space of really just like figuring out that healthy balance of maintaining my clientele, but also growing my presence on socials all across the board. Because I think that's important too, because I think we live in an age where both matter depending on what you want to do. And I got big dreams. I got big goals.
Yeah.
And I see the importance of both. Sometimes it gets tricky because, when I talk to other hairstylists or other people on our field, they're like, you feel more like an influencer now. Let's make one thing clear. Yeah. I am influential. I am not an influencer. Those are two different things. And then when I talk to some influencers, they're like, you're a hairstylist. I am, by nature. But I'm also influential. My work is on your mood board. I've seen it pop up in your videos. My peers' works are on your mood board. We're just as influential. It's just we don't have that large platform. So that's, I'm finding that healthy balance too because I got a lot to say.
Yeah. I like that. I'm not an influencer. I am influential. It's interesting that you identify.
But to those brands out there that work with me, I am an influencer.
Right. Well, I think they would be happy regardless if they're like, you're influential. That's what they're looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah. In terms of identifying what the name is, I think they're just like, hey, can you move this product? Can you push this product? Brand partnerships. I think that you touched on a really important thing. You have to be your own brand as well as working in this industry. I don't think that there is another option at this point. Like, the purpose of this podcast is really for people to understand the intersection of that.
Exactly.
Because
people don't understand it.
We are business people.
Yep.
Right? And especially everyone who's decided to own the social piece of it, I think is really, like, you're talking about your management and your lawyer, and these are the people that are on your team and who are you interacting with every day. I think it's incredibly important to understand how we move, because just because I'm one person, because you're managing like multiple businesses. You're managing Kahh Spence Beauty. You're managing your ability to be able to be a brand, like you personally as the brand. And then you have your clients. You're busy all the time, no matter what. So you need other people so that way you can be the talent. You can be also the, the visionary for your clients, but also the hairstylist. Right. How do you balance all those things?
It's something I'm still trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Because in one breath, it's like, I want to do it all. But in another breath, it's like, oh my God, I'm so tired. And then I'll like talk to my friends and they'll be like, oh, so are you working today? And I'm like, well, technically there's never a day that I'm not working. It's just you view me as just a hairstylist. So if I'm not doing hair, it's not considered work in your eyes. But me opening my eyes and standing up and taking a deep breath is considered work.
And that's that on that.
I eat, sleep, and breathe everything I do.
Yeah.
And it's lately I've been creating more content than I've ever created before, and the team over at Select is like really on top of it, which I love because I think it puts me in a space of do it. But I love that it's like, they help me with figuring out like what's trendy and, what works, what doesn't work, and like, bouncing ideas across. Like, it's like really that, because, there's like a full team of people over there. And so they really kind of understand that side of it. And it helps. It's just, oof, like having to jump from like doing hair to trying to create 10 TikToks in a day to then trying to sleep to then trying to cook. But also, wait, you should show that you're cooking to land this brand partnership.
Tell me about it.
Show that part. Don't forget.
Yeah. What did you make?
All right. What did you make? Tell them on your story.
Yeah.
And then, like it's fun though. Like right now we're in like Halloween season, and Halloween's my favorite time of the year.
Oh my gosh, you kill it with Halloween every year.
And thank you so much.
Yeah.
And, one of my dreams has always been to design a Barbie. Whether it be with Mattel specifically or with Bratz or, any sort of brand that involves dolls. And so I decided to shoot the Black Collector edition of Barbie with a friend, Brittany Sky. And it was very intentional because I do have a clear plan of what I see happening there. I see me in about a year or two designing a Barbie. And I don't mean designing my own Barbie in the sense of something that looks like me, but I mean designing a Barbie or a doll that looks like another Black girl. I come from a neighborhood where we don't really see ourselves on shelves. And just to see what I posted today on social and to see the feedback online and in my text messages, it's like, this is the reason why I decided to even go this route with this for this year. Some people are like, oh, why do you invest so much into this? Because I see the long term, I see the long game in this, and I see where I want it to go. And I know it'll happen with the work and the energy put into it. And some people don't understand that. They're like, oh, I'm not doing this because it's not paying me. Nice. But when I do get there, you'll understand it, and you'll understand why you should have did it, because not everything pays right away. So it's cool, like, to try to figure out the balance. I'm trying to figure it out and have fun and just...
Yeah. Where do those ideas... I know you're saying you have a lot of ideas, but how do you know this is the one I'm going to work on?
I don't. No, literally, I don't. Like one day I wake up like, I want to do this. I want to try this. Like the Barbie idea. Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to design a Barbie, but that...
I had chills, by the way, when you said that. I was like, okay. I was like, I'm going to keep this clip because I'm going to play this clip 2 years from now.
When you see it, and
period.
We're at the store and it's like...
Oh, yeah, we're going to play it.
And it's like...
Yeah. I'm going to be like, y'all remember this?
Like, this is crazy. So I also shot the entire cast of Martin.
Okay.
And... like I love to do the comedic route, but I was intentional about that too because this is the 30th year anniversary. They just put out their reunion. And, I love the idea of being a visionary, being a creative. And I think it sets me apart from some of my other peers. Not that I want to be set apart or like want that, but it sets me apart because it shows that like, it's bigger than just hair. It's bigger than just this one bubble, and it goes into something deeper. Like, I need him to start doing stuff for me. I want to bring him on to start doing this type of stuff for me. Yeah. And this isn't no like small budget stuff. These shoots are like tens of thousands of dollars of my money. But where do the ideas come from? Just...
Hey, thank you so much for watching this episode of It Takes a Village podcast. I'd like to invite you to do 2 things, and then I'll get you back into the episode. Number 1, if you could go and leave us a 5-star review, leave us information about what you liked about the episode, and most importantly, this is something I'm going to incorporate into future episodes, is leave your questions, things that you want asked by these experts. I really want to make sure that you're getting exactly what you need to help move your business to the next level. Number 2, if you can go over to ittakesavillagepod.com, that's pod.com, you can subscribe to our newsletter. So our newsletter has information about each episode coming out, show notes, details about the guest, and more. So go check that out as well. And with that, let's get back into the episode. How do you know, and not even just where do they come from? Because I feel like God gives people ideas. The universe gives people ideas, but more of the how did you choose which one you were gonna, because you like you said, you build out the budget, or sometimes it's like, like if you're like me, I'm just like, I'm supposed to be doing this, and I'm just like, the money will come.
Mm-hmm. I try to be intentional, like where am I at in this space of my life, and what do I want within the next year or the next 2 years, and I know I want to some sort of partnership with a doll company. So that's where that came in. And I know I want to start working more on like the visionary side and the creative side, like exploring those talents, whether it be, doing more stuff for myself, but on the creative side and getting paid to do that, getting double payment as the talent and the CD. So it was about being intentional and like understanding like, okay, like this will work and this is what you should do. And yeah.
Strategic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what that, and I literally wrote down like, I'm excited. Because I think it's like, it's not just, oh, you get to a place. There's a strategy. There's a thought process on, like you said, what's happening in the industry. What are you excited about? There's these conversations that you're having where you're like, okay, if I place this here, then I know this might happen in a little bit.
Right.
The investing in yourself, not everybody does that. Yeah, tell me about that, because like that's big. And there are certain people who will sit on ideas and be like, oh, I need someone else to pay for this, or even if they have the money in their pocket, they'll still be like, oh no, and then it never ends up happening because.
Let me give you an example.
Yeah,
so
give
last
me
year,
one.
or like 2 years ago for Halloween, or was it last year? We're in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I shot that this summer. So it was a year before. I shot like these 3 concepts for Halloween. I did like this Set It Off, the created. I like to create like the movie posters. So Set It Off,
Yeah.
Baby Boy, and Nutty Professor.
And you do 3. You did 3. That's wild. Are you doing it the same day?
That shoot was shot in the same day. Yes.
Wow.
And it's not just like simple Photoshop. It's not just like, oh, we're taking my head and putting it on the body. Like I'm really getting into full character for each of them. That was like the first time I did that myself. So where it really started was me and my friends, me, LMA, Katie, and Alyssa Ashley did like this B2K flyer or poster in 2017. And I think that was really the time when, celebrities started feeling like, oh, let me start taking this Halloween stuff seriously. Because, everybody was dressed up as bunnies and cats. And now all of a sudden we getting high level budget production.
We are.
Let's, talk
it's
about
a whole
where the
new
inspo
thing.
came from. It came from us. This wasn't happening before. People dressed up as bunnies and rabbits.
Accurate.
Wait, a bunny.
Yeah.
Except for
Heidi Klum. She's been putting it down since the beginning.
Heidi Klum's been doing it, but Heidi Klum never like on social. It's never a production on social.
Correct.
See, in person, everybody goes off. Well, some people. But on social, nobody was doing like do you see the productions they do now? Like the full-on photo shoots, the backdrops. So that no one.
You want trendsetter?
I'm on my Soulja Boy shit. Nobody was doing that for us.
Nobody was doing that.
Literally.
Yeah. I see you, Draco.
Listen, come on. So I did that. And then a few months later, I landed a deal with Square Appointments. Square, the app, they were launching Square Appointments through the app. And that was probably one of my largest, I was going to say one of my largest brand deals. Not my largest, but it was like a really large paying brand deal. And they gave me full flexibility and range to direct, come up with the creative, come up with everything. And, some brands don't allow you to do that. Some brands are like, okay, here's what we want. You make this exact thing happen. They allowed me to have full creative control. And it was because they saw moments like that where I had full creative control and I was able to really execute. Now, granted, was it expensive? Yes, because I didn't just let my homie pick up a camera and shoot something. I hired a full production team. The shoot alone cost me like $25,000.
Wow.
Now, some people will be like, oh, hell no, I'm not paying that. But I knew what I wanted it to look like. Sure, it was just but it was like a 3-minute video on Instagram. And some would be like, oh my God, this is too much money for stuff like this. But like, you got to see the long game. That ad alone brought on so many other partnerships because so many other brands are like, wow, you put this together. Mm-hmm. We can only imagine what you can do from there. It brought on, a deal with Airbnb, CVS, like just other brands because they were able to see like, wow, I love this. Like you're able to really execute and do it well.
And what I'm also really inspired by too is the way that you're a hairstylist and you're closing lifestyle brand deals. Okay. Double blink.
I mean, you
I
know, you
love it.
gotta be able to tap into other markets, which
Yes.
is why we started Kahh Spence Beauty, because I didn't want to be boxed into just the hairstylist world.
Okay.
I wanted to step into the lifestyle market.
Mhm.
Now I might be stepping back into the hairstylist world pretty soon.
Okay.
You know?
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Mhm.
I don't know. You know, who knows what the future holds? But I wanted to be open to do other stuff. Like, I don't want to just be in a box. Like, I don't, you know, I want to be able to go to VidCon and host a panel at VidCon, or, you know, not just be boxed into, oh, there's a beauty and style summit happening. Let's book him for that. No, like, if there's this happening, let's get him in for this too, because he's able to speak to this and that. Why not?
Yeah, I agree. Capital. Where do you get that from? I mean, in terms of, I'm saying, like, take me back to, like, the very beginning of, like, your career.
I rob banks. I'm kidding. Oh my God, I'm so kidding. I'm so kidding.
I don't do that.
I'm nobody's thief.
Right. It's like, because I'm thinking about who might be listening, right? I'm thinking about also the younger me. Like, I'm how do we navigate that? Like, how do you navigate that?
You want me to take it way back?
Take it way back.
Okay.
Mhm.
So this is me being really honest. You know, I've never really shared this story publicly. So when I was like 16, 17, 15, 14, wow, 4 different years. Okay, maybe 14, 15. Something really grand happened with my mom. She had won the lottery for like a really large amount of money. And from there, she had really started investing deeper into things. And then when she passed away in 2017, she left her investments to my brother and I. And from there, I decided to use the money to start funding other stuff. You know, a lot of that money really started Kahh Spence Beauty, and really helped to fund Kahh Spence Beauty. And I really thank her for that, because it really, you know, gave me a head start at 21. You know, I was a millionaire at 21. And I didn't come from that. I didn't come from that life. You know, I come from the trenches. I come from Brooklyn. Most people don't know that, but I come from Brooklyn. Like, I come from the projects. Like, I come from, you know, and
what was that like? Like coming from that, and then all of a sudden,
it was like,
really? Like how we see it on like how we imagine it would be? It's like that?
It was crazy. Like, I was able to get whatever I wanted. Like, it was like one day it was like, well, you only have $5 for school lunch. Like, nigga, make this shit stretch to, oh, here's $50. I was like, oh my God, I can eat red lobster. I can go to Applebee's now. Like, I don't have to just get a beef patty with cheese and like a quarter bag of chips and nutty, but like, I don't have to just get this. Like, what is life? But like, I don't have to wear the same shoes all school year. I mean, granted, we made some silly decisions, you know, because I got a little too ahead of myself. That's where the event that I first had met Mecca at, that's where that came from. Back then, my mother was just like, you know, I want to invest in my kids and their dreams and what they're doing. And she, one day, random, I had like Bank of America time. I look at my checking account. It's like $100,000. And I was like, where does this come from? And I call her and I'm like, why do I have this much money in my account? She's like, oh, I just wired you. What? You don't want to warn me of this? You don't want to say that? Like, I'm also like 17 at the time. What am I doing with this amount of money? Like, what am I doing with this amount of money? And I was just literally wasting it. And it, you know, when I think back, it taught me very valuable lessons. Be patient, be still, understand money does not grow on trees. So anytime I talk to my little cousins or like my nieces or, you know, anybody, I'm just like, if you're working, save, you know. Amen. You ain't paying taxes right now, but put money aside from taxes. You might be 14, but from that allowance, put money aside from taxes.
Yeah. And that $5, put 25 cents to the side.
Like, you know, I try to teach my niece, my brother's daughter, you know, the importance of saving and the importance of, you want to go to college or like you want this, make sure you have the money for it, because don't call any of us. Like, I mean, granted, if you call, I'll do it, but like, don't call any of us, because you're getting stuff from places, you know, save it, put some money aside. I'm just thinking back on, as a kid, I wasn't saving. I mean, before all of that happened, we didn't have a lot to save anyway. My mother was making ends meet with the best she could, and my other family members chipped in where they could too. So after that, she passed. We took I took the money that I made from investments or the money that I got from my share of her investments. I decided to purchase a condo, and that was, I decided to put a lot of money in that to have as an investment property.
That's so smart. At what age were you?
21.
That is so smart. That is so smart. Like there's not a lot of 21-year-olds that would have been like, oh yeah, let me go buy a property. That's big.
I'm like, who? I think it was my Aunt Tonya and Mecca. Yeah. I was just having conversations with both of them, and about like what I mean. My first thing I purchased was this tennis necklace on my neck, my Rolex, and I got a Chanel bag. Like, I spent some real money the first day,
right.
But of course, I made.
But then you got a property,
right? But I was like, what would a Rolex? I was so Davis. I want this.
Yeah,
and I was like, I want the ooh la la. But then I was like, okay, get it together.
Yeah,
get smart.
How long did it take you to get it together? From it was like, what is it, 17 to like 20? Do you feel like it was like up until 21?
Oh, I'm still getting it together. Still getting it together.
Live and in progress.
Live and in progress. Not as bad as back then, but definitely live and in progress. I think in those moments, so this was happening. I was like 21, 22. So that's all happening. And I was just like, okay, let me figure out how to invest and save and put money here, put money there. And so it's so interesting because when a lot of people had looked at me back then, they were like, how the hell? Like, I know he's not making that much money from hair. I wasn't.
They were trying to figure it out. Everybody's always trying to figure out everybody's check. Have you realized that? I know you realize it actually. Now that you're like, look, can you please get a close up on his face?
Like, everybody always trying to figure out
They're always trying to figure out somebody's money. Like, if you see somebody going on vacation, be like, why are they on vacation?
And why is it an all expense paid trip for him and his 15 friends? Mind your business.
Right.
First off, bitch, mind your business.
Right.
Yeah, but, I was fortunate enough. Yeah. I mean, it was unfortunate, but luckily I had a mom who thought about her children and thought about what she saw for them after she left us. And I'm forever grateful for that because I think it set me up for a really successful future. And even if she were still alive today, I think I'd still be fine because my mother supported any and everything I did. I could say I wanted to start, I don't know, becoming the next Spider-Man, and we'd figure out a way to help me become the next Spider-Man. I feel like my mother was supportive. Sometimes she didn't understand it, but she was really supportive. And I think this was her way of being ultra supportive. I just started really trying to invest the capital as best as possible, putting it in investment accounts, Roth IRAs, SEP IRAs, mutual fund accounts, like everything I could, just to make sure I wasn't actively spending the money because if I see it, I'm gonna spend it. Still to this day. And so, yeah, and I was still working at the time. Like every job, I was taking every job. Like I left no check on the table. Even still to this day, I'm leaving no check on the table. I don't give a damn how much money you think I'm making. I'm gonna still get it all.
Right.
So yeah, it was saving and investing and making sure that I set myself up. So when an opportunity did come, like shooting Halloween content, I wasn't like, oh, I have to wait until I'm paid to do this, or I have to wait for this job, or, if a brand booked me to come to an event and, I don't know, the budget allotted for hotel stays and, airfare was only a small amount, but I want to fly first class and I want to stay here. I have the capital to do that because I budgeted and saved for it.
Right.
Now, will I spend my own money? Hell no.
Right.
I ain't trying to spend my money. But if I have to, I will.
Yeah. I think that's important too, because it's also how do we improve the experience for people? It's making sure that brands are paying for stuff like that, right? Like, I'm not going to pay for it. No, you do need to fly me first class. No, you do need to do this, because this is part of almost like, you work with your clients and they have their riders. It's like we have our own, okay, these are the things that I need in order to be comfortable working, because especially when you travel with people. How is tour, by the way? How is on tour? Like, to me, I'm like, being available at any minute. Are you an extrovert?
Extrovert.
Yeah. Like, are you all?
No, I'm more like a social introvert.
Okay.
Like, I turn my clock off when I'm ready to turn it off.
And then you're like, bye, guys.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out, which is why I like to drive places most of the time. Or if I'm not driving, like,
Same.
I'm glad that, like, you know, I got
Uber
a
exists.
checking account with some money in it to
Yep.
use an Uber. Or I might be dating somebody that I got their credit card and they can call my own Ubers.
Yeah.
But I'm not dating nobody right now. If there's anybody else, if this comes out of January, so I might be dating by then.
Yeah.
This
This is not current. We don't know his current dating situation.
It could change.
It could change.
You know, if you're
You never know.
out there, you know.
Yeah. If you're the right one.
We can get into it a little
Pull up.
later.
Work ethic specifically, right? Like, a lot of people are like, oh, if you have money, then you're not going to want to work. Where do you feel like that drive? Where do you feel like that drive is?
I want to keep the money.
Copy.
And
okay.
I want it to multiply.
I need more money.
I need more of it.
I
And in
need
order
more
for me
money.
to make more of it,
Okay.
I gotta work
Yeah.
until I'm at a place where I'm like, my money's working for itself. I'm not at that place where my money's working for itself yet. You know, I'm not at the place where I was just watching this interview Iman Shumpert did, and he was saying, you know, he made so much money in his basketball career, and he was able to invest it properly, and invest it to the point where, like, his money's still working for himself right now. I want to get to that point. I'm nowhere near that point. Like, I feel like I took some, like, I've made some really poor financial mistakes.
Mhm.
And I've learned some financial lessons in my lifetime.
You're so wise.
Not even a short amount of time.
Yeah.
I've learned some financial lessons.
Yes.
So I'm in a space where now I'm like, I'm going to work my ass off until I can't anymore.
Yeah.
And, you know, however I can do it, which is why I think it's really important to understand how to capitalize and how to brand so that you're not just stuck in this one bubble. Yes, I'm a hairstylist, but I'm also, you know, influential, not an influencer. But I'm also going to jump down this lane, and I'm also going to, you know, own my own business.
So there's bags.
And it's not that I need 3 different sources of income, because I saw this young lady on TikTok talking about, like, we live in a culture where everyone feels like they need 10 sources of income. I don't feel like I need 10 sources of income. I have my one main job as a hairstylist and beauty expert that allows me to be able to do everything else. And so under that umbrella, I can go out and say, okay, I want to work with Alkaline pH. And what we're going to talk about and talk to is how I, you know, keep myself hydrated while on the job. That's how we twist lifestyle, because beauty is a part of lifestyle. That's how we twist it and make it in there. Or if I'm working with the HelloFresh, you know, what I eat on the go.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm wearing, you know, Givenchy or ASOS or a Black-owned brand, what I'm wearing to work. What I'm wearing on my vacation from work. You see how it still ties in there? And then my business, my lifestyle business, Kahh Spence Beauty,
mm-hmm.
you know, that's a whole nother realm in itself. You know, I do want to separate the two, but I don't, you know, I want to be in a space where everything's just working for itself.
Yeah. Getting all
I think it's really important to continually work. Don't overwork yourself, but continually work for sure.
Yeah. So work ethic, but also with balance.
With balance.
Okay. What does balance look like for you?
I don't have much right now.
Right.
If I ain't thinking, it's a little hard. Yeah. You know, I haven't taken a vacation in a really long time, but I think I'm not in a space to take a vacation. My therapist will probably be like, what? And not
your therapist is watching this like,
what?
Pull the plug.
No, seriously.
Yeah, right.
Not that I'm not in a space financially to take a vacation, but more so like, there's just work to do. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to, and I think this might just be a me thing, but I don't want to not get the work done. But I also don't want to overwork myself, because I have felt like that before. And, you know, I can shut down. I can, like, I know my body now way more than I've known it before. And, like, when I overwork myself, I get sick. And, you know, I'll get really dehydrated. You know, I get really exhausted. And I've, you know, had moments here and there. And I'm trying to find the balance now, because that's not healthy. Yeah. At all.
What is it like doing that on tour? To me, I imagine, I've never been on tour before, and I've always looked at it and I'm like, first of all, I think of stamina with that, because like, you're going to all these different cities, and then also I would imagine different, the person that you're working with is obviously going to be pretty stressed out because they have their performance, and then they have to meet fans, and then they have to go to different cities, and then they're tired, and then they need to go to like a thing that evening because they're in that town and they booked that appearance. How do you manage that? Obviously that's their schedule, but I don't think what people understand is that everybody traveling with them, that's their schedule too.
I'm tired even thinking about it.
Right. I haven't even been on it and I already thought about all these things.
I mean, I think tour is a beautiful experience, and I think everyone, if you can experience it, please do.
Yeah.
It's exhausting, it's taxing on the body, but it's rewarding because you get to learn how you work in environments like that, like crunch times, or like, needing the stamina. Some people can't survive like that. I've had experiences where like we get to a city at 3 p.m., shower in a venue, get ready from 5 to 7. She goes on stage, or she has a meet and greet at 7, at 8, goes on stage at 9, and then we're out by 11:30 and do the same thing the next day. Some people can't handle that.
You're out of that venue and also out of that city.
Yeah.
Wow.
And on the way to the next city on a bus.
Wow.
Next day. And it depends on the level of the tour, because some depending on the artist you're working with, but that's just the experiences that I've had. And I think I think it's a beautiful experience. I've loved it so far, and I think it taught me a lot about myself and how I can work, and the things I can do here and there. And I think my next touring situation, it'll be slightly different for me because I'm in a space now where like I figured out how to make it work for me, in the sense of like, yes, I'm here fully around someone else's schedule and time, but like I want to create a TikTok. So like when I have at least 2 seconds to myself, do what you need to do. Like when we were in Philly with Ella, how I was creating content around, she was in her sound check, I was creating content while she was in her sound check.
It was so cool. When I watched you do that, I was like, you have such a good understanding of time management. Because what do you see most people do? Just be on their phone, scrolling, liking stuff. Hey, girl, you getting it? Fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji. And you're like, no, I need to take a picture over here. Let me make sure I get my setup. Let me make sure I add. And even the way you tell the story without being, you don't even need to really have them in the story. You just need a picture of them, maybe, right?
If
like,
that.
And if that, yeah, like it might even be like a little thing of them on the stage.
Because
depending on the vibe too, you know what I mean? Yeah, you got to read the room.
I think I've come to a place in my career where I've learned how to be able to tell the story from my lens and not from the artist's lens, because I don't want to take that experience away from them, and I don't want them to feel like I'm overshadowing or like overstepping boundaries. And so I like to tell the story from my lens. Like if you scroll down my Instagram, all the stories told are from my viewpoint. And sure, they might jump in it for 2 seconds, but that was because they wanted to. Or I might have been like, ooh, we're jumping this real quick. And it wasn't because, I know it's going to help the content and make it do better. It was more so because, sure, we're here together. Let's just jump in it. Like, we're going to take pictures anyway. Why not? And it's never a situation where I'm like, oh my God, I know this is going to make it do better because this person's in it.
Honestly, I don't even feel like it helps. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like sometimes it's like, sure, okay, whatever, if there's like a person, but people are on your page to watch you.
And watch
that's how I feel
your
anyway.
Life from your lens and how
100%.
you're navigating, how you're doing it. And I speak to so many people about that because they're like, how do you create that sort of, the life of the behind the scenes of a traveling, whatever you do, because I feel like there's so many titles to it. But how do you create that story? And it's like, you have to find how to do it from your lens and how to tell that story and really, embody what it feels like to be this traveling person. And to be this person who like is gonna take people on the behind the scenes of what that looks like without the client.
Yeah. That's a talent. Being able to do that. And also people are private, right? I mean, even though I know you share a lot about your life, I also know you're private. And I think sometimes people get confused. They think, just because this person has a social media account and they do hair or they do makeup, it means that they're going to take my experience and make it there. It's like, no, that's not what this is.
Right.
Right? And so
I got my life to live.
100%. And you got to go places and do things that sometimes people don't know
Need to
about.
see.
Yeah, or need to see, because some things are just for you.
Right. Let me just live in the moment for 2 seconds. Like, I'll show y'all my world 98% of the time. Let me go to Philippe Child with my little sneaky link. Like, 2 seconds.
Exactly. I got to be free. I got to be able to move and maneuver.
I ain't got no sneaky link.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Well,
I want a husband.
Yeah. Kah's available.
Please.
Right now.
I might not be available.
Right. But, we'll shoot the shot just in case. You can find out. OGX. How did you start working with them? Because that was that's a very cool brand. And I don't even really know too many people that are working with them. Like, I feel like are you their global? Are you their national consultant with them? Or influencer? Or influential? I'm sorry.
She called me an influencer, y'all.
I'm sorry.
No. So I am their lead stylist ambassador.
Okay.
Nationally. And I don't think there's a title on that.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working with them for 5 years. The relationship's changed over the course of time because I think when we first started working together, we were testing waters and seeing how well we worked together.
Yeah.
And it was so crazy because as a kid growing up, well, maybe not a kid, like in my teens, my mother used a lot of their products.
Wow.
And so literally she passed August 31st, 2017. Sheena from the brand first reached out October.
Oh, Mom hooked that up.
I was like, what the?
Yeah.
Like,
Mom was like, hey, watch this.
What is this? And from there, it was like magic. I did my first event with them in New York where we styled hair for the editors, myself and another hairstylist, Jillian. And the relationship has changed completely since then because I've grown as a hairstylist. I've grown as a person. I've grown across the board. And I think, we figured out how to make it work for where I'm at now in my career as opposed to where I was back then. Because, I was in a much of a space like that. It was 2017. I was just, getting my feet wet.
Yeah. Were you in New York or LA then?
Yeah, oh my God, I was here.
Yeah?
I moved here.
Oh, wow, you've been here for a while then. Because we met a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. I signed with...
Yeah. We met, you remember we were working with Afia? We worked with Afia.
Oh my God. I was still in college.
You were? Oh
that was in 2014.
Wow. Okay, so then when did you move
here? I wasn't
here?
even 21. I wasn't even 20. No. Because Afia wasn't. We're the same age. She's like a year older than me.
Okay.
And she was still young because her birthday was yesterday. Yeah, I believe she just turned 28. Yeah, she's like a year old. Yeah, she's a year older than me.
Yeah, she was probably like 20. She might have been like 21. Maybe she was a little bit younger than that. Maybe she was 20.
Maybe if she was 20, I was 19.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I remember meeting you in New York. So when did you move here?
So we knew my mom was passing all year.
Okay.
And so I signed my lease August 6th because her prognosis was for like August. And
Mom was in New York.
Mom was in New York.
Okay.
And I don't know, something in me was just like, I don't want to live in New York after this. Like, I don't want to be here. I want to embark on a new journey. And I was just like, let's go to LA. I found this little cute apartment. Rent was like $1,200. It was a cute little, you walked in and you could literally, like, you took your first step and you were on the couch. Like, it was tight. But it was, my first apartment by myself. I was so happy. I was so excited.
I love that.
I was like, oh my God, I'm on my own now. Like, it was so different. And so, yeah, I've been here since 2017 in my little apartment, in my little shack.
Yeah. That was good.
I'm not there anymore.
Right. Things have changed.
No, life
has been good.
Things have changed.
Yes, I love that.
It changed a little.
Yeah.
But so OGX, we've been working together since then. And I think we've grown such a really great relationship now. They support any and everything I do. And I'm grateful to have such a long-standing partnership because I think that's always the goal when it comes to brand partnerships. Like I don't mind, short lead deals at all. Yeah. But I love a good long lead deal because
Same.
I like, really marrying a relationship and really like, nurturing it and really figuring out like what works, what doesn't work, what the kinks are, what the, what I was. So last year, I had said, I don't want to focus on doing so much hair specifically when it comes to brand partnerships. And I think I was just in a space where, and I think, we can all, you can let me know how you feel. I think sometimes we get in these spaces where we're like, I don't want to just do this. I want to kind of move into this.
Oh, yeah. I feel you completely. That's why we're here.
Right. And now I'm in a space where I'm like, no, let's revisit that because I don't want to lose the essence of who I am. And I think I've started to lose the essence of who I am, specifically when it came to brand partnerships, because I'm like, I'm grateful for companies like OGX because through them, I've created great relationships with editors of every top outlet, magazine, everything. And, I love the fact that like now the partnership is really set in a way where like it allows me to, yes, do hair and like be funky and fun in that way. We just did something earlier this year with one of my clients, Victoria Monet. We did like this like cute little styling session. We were like styling her hair in like these really cute beach waves.
Okay, no, I know what you're talking about.
And I was like, I'm so glad that I'm able to like have this relationship with them where I can like include my clients and we can all just come together and like have a good time. So I'm really grateful for them.
Yeah. What's the key to a long brand partnership? Like what do you
You.
Yeah. What do you think you do that makes you more valuable to them besides just being a super dope hairstylist?
I think there's that. I think there's a way I carry myself. There's like a certain, essence about
a sprinkle.
But no, I think there's like that plays a part in it as well because, when I think about my own brand, I would never bring on ambassadors or like just people that don't fit the mold of what it is I'm looking for. They don't carry themselves in the manner of what I'm looking for. And as much as it sucks to say that, I sometimes operate from that standpoint, which is why you'll never see me on Instagram smoking. Mm-hmm. I don't do that in my everyday life, but like you will never see me on social doing that because I don't want a brand to feel like, we cater to children 18 and under or 14 to 18 and which is the same thing. But we don't want this to be what they see and think that it's okay for them to be doing this. Sometimes it's a heavy chip to have on your shoulder, like, damn, am I a role model for this? Some people are like, girl, fuck those kids. But I don't think like that because I'm like, I wish there were people like that when I was growing up because, we didn't have as deep of a social media world as we do now. Yeah. I feel like a lot of these kids are so heavily influenced by the things they see online. And a lot of my core audience are younger. And I don't want them seeing me doing the most outrageous things on the internet. And I think from that relationship that I have with them, brands are like, oh, we love it. And
yeah. Being intentional about what you're sharing. And also even what you're doing and how you pull up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Friends in the industry. How's that for you?
Like,
is it easy to make friends? For me, I feel like I would say New York has been good for friends within the industry. Mm-hmm. I won't say that my closest friends are industry people, but I do find that I have a good relationship with most people. I mean, there is some competitive nature because I think that sometimes, we mentioned this before, you might say, oh, this is my client. Instead of being like, this is, you said, a client. Our client.
This is a client.
This is a person, a human being, not an object. So I think that sometimes it can get competitive like that. Mm-hmm. How do you manage relationships? And is it easy to make, have you found it easy to make friends?
Easy, no.
Yeah.
I'm a very personable person. Sometimes it really just depends. But for the most part, I'm a very easygoing person, I'd like to say.
Yeah. I wouldn't describe you as easygoing. Can I interrupt? I feel like I wouldn't describe you as easygoing, but I would describe you as very honest.
Woo! Set me straight.
I was like, wait a second. Yeah.
It's so much light here, but I feel the shade. Oh my
wait a second. Yeah. I was like, hold on, time out. No, I would say you were very honest mm-hmm. and you were always genuine mm-hmm. and you were always kind.
Okay.
Yeah. That's been my experience.
I'll take that.
Is that okay?
I'll take it. I mean, because it's real, okay, maybe I'm not easygoing.
But I like that about you, though. I don't know if I have any friends that are easygoing. I'm going to be honest.
You know what? Let me take that back. I'm not easygoing. Like you said, I'm very opinionated. I'm very straightforward and to the point. Some people cannot handle that. So is it hard to make friends and relationships within the industry? Not necessarily, because I'm still a cool guy at the end of the day. I'm still somebody you want to kick it with. We want to be friends with each other because there's like a great vibe about me. And yeah, but like you said, there is that competitive nature. There is this like, so one of the mottos that I walk with is like, it's in you, not on you. And a lot of what I do is in
Right
me, not
there.
on me. And, I can walk into a room and, you feel my presence, not because I'm loud or not because I need to like do cartwheels in the room, not because of any of that, just like the way I carry myself, the essence of who I am, and like just the vibe that I bring in. Sure, some people might feel like it's ridiculously arrogant, but it's in me, not on me. And so for that reason, sometimes it's really tricky to make friends because some people don't know how to take that. Yeah. But I've made some great relationships within the industry, some on our creative end, and then some, that are like talent or, influencers, the whole nine. Like I made some great relationships for
Yeah.
sure. But my closest friends are back home in New York. We're just all in these like interesting spaces in our lives. And so the conversation has depth. And I feel like a lot of the relationships we have in this world, there's no depth. It's very surface level because everyone wants to talk about the same thing. Oh, what are you wearing to this party tonight? Are you going here? Are you doing this? Like, I don't care. I don't want to talk about this. First of all, I'm not telling you what I'm wearing. When you see me, you see me.
Period. When I pull up, I pull up.
When I pull up, I pull up. And just know I pull up.
You do pull up. You always are in a look. Yeah, always.
I don't know why I said earlier I'm not a lot of a person because I am a lot of a person. I'm a lot of a person, and you have to really understand and know that in order for us to work, because and I tone it down, especially when I'm around my clients. It completely folds. And not saying I like shrink myself for them, never. But like I said earlier, work first. I don't ever want my clients to feel like I'm putting me before them. Like one of my clients, we're going to the same party tomorrow and she needs her hair done beforehand. I'm going to go make sure she's good beforehand because yes, I'm going to get ready, but I'm going to make sure she's good. Like I work first. And when I see her at the party, if she, wants to film a TikTok, take a picture, anything, I'm going to make it happen. Cause like finding a healthy balance. I don't ever want them to feel like, okay, whoa, like we're sitting on the same, well, never. Cause we're not, like you're at this level, I'm not at that level. We're in much different spaces. I work for you. That's it. So it's so interesting when I go out because like when I'm not in that world and I'm in my world, like, and it's about me.
Yeah. Main character.
Main character? Oh, I'm a lot.
Yeah. I love that. I love when people own that. Because I think that, like you said, because I've been around you when you're around your clients and I've been around you when you're not, and you're the same, to me, you're the same person. I think everyone can be different versions of themselves, like you said. It's all about you're in different rooms. It's like if I was, giving a speech to a corporation, I would be a different version of myself than I would be, while we're sitting here and just kind of kicking back. But it's still me.
Right.
And I think you're the same way where I see you, if you're doing a presentation for, a brand, or if you're doing a presentation, or if you're just, on your Instagram, to me, I feel like it's the same. It's different, but it's the same. There's a consistency, there's an honesty, and I think you can trust that.
Right.
Which is good. Mentors. Do you have any mentors?
Mentors per se, no. But I do have people like Mecca in my life. I do have people like my aunt in my life I go to for advice or to talk or to, bounce ideas off of.
Yeah. Do you find that that's important, or do you think it's more of whatever you have going on up here? Do you feel like you ever need leadership in that way, like a mentor in that way?
Depending on what's happening, yes.
Okay.
So like, another story I didn't touch on. I was in the process of building a home during the pandemic, and so like,
congratulations, by the way.
No congratulations yet.
Ooh, okay. Rolling it back.
I'm not even gonna say thank you.
Okay.
So remember when I didn't say this. Oh yes, I had bought a condo.
Okay.
But then I was one of those people that was heavily influenced by people on the internet, and I was like, "Ooh, everybody's buying houses now. I gotta one up these bitches. I'm gonna build a house." So I sold my condo, dumbest decision ever, because I had all the equity in the home because I purchased it in cash, so I had all the equity. Sold it, put it into the home. Ended up not moving into the home because things had changed, and I had like put all of it out there on the internet and like showcase it all on the internet. And when it didn't happen, it like put me in a really depressive state because I'm just like, I'm not showing up as who I am. And like, people are seeing me in such a different light. And like, how do I be vulnerable? And how do I talk about this? But like, don't talk about it. And I had people in my corner telling me like, I don't think this is the best decision. Like, you don't need to be building a home. You don't need to be building a multi-million-dollar home. Like, be modest. You lived in a perfect space. Like, you owned it. Like, you could have made it work. Maybe rented an apartment outside of that because I didn't have any payments on that besides like light, gas. Like, my bills in that home were under $500. So cheap.
Wow.
And so, I wasn't thinking smart until after the fact. So yes, I think it is good to have leadership and to actually listen and to actually, listen in real time, because I feel like if I would have listened in real time, I wouldn't be in the space that I'm in right now. Because I was just having the conversation the other day. I would have, I did outgrow the space. I would have used that space as like my office / apartment because it did have a bedroom. We could have turned one part of the living room into like a studio space, one part into an office area, and then the kitchen. And then I would have had my home in the South, which is what I've always wanted, or like a condo in the South, because I did want to be bi-coastal at the time, or maybe even a place in New York. But I had no real bills on that place. So I was like, now that I think back, I could have made both of it work. But I wasn't listening to anybody at the time, and I thought I had all the answers. And when I listen and hear, my peers talking now, sometimes they think they have all the answers because now I'm in the space of I'm a listener completely. And so even when I'm talking to peers or friends, I just listen. And I'm just like, damn, like only if you knew how much of a mistake you're making. But I don't want to be that person to tell you that, because I know when I was in that space, I didn't want anybody to tell me that. But when I'm talking to like my nieces or like people that are way younger, I'm like, get it together. Like, here's what I think you should be doing. Here's what I think you shouldn't be doing. Some of my friends, we, go back and forth, and I'm like, okay, I think this should be the plan. I think you should do this. And some give me the same advice too. Some I don't take now because I'm in a space now where like literally now was in yesterday where I understand things a bit better, because I've still made mistakes up until literally just recently, like literally, no. This morning.
What? Yes.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, but definitely having either a mentor or someone you trust that you can really like, talk back and forth with, share ideas, and you can take advice and learn from them. But I think it's really important.
Yeah. It's cool. Thank you for sharing, because I know that that's also like a very vulnerable thing to share. Your face. Crack me up. Your smile is like I love it. All right, young Kahh, like if you could give him advice and be like, hey, what would you say in terms of like how to navigate this industry? Because obviously we're still growing. I'm sure that you're not like, oh, I've arrived, but you've gotten to a place in your career where hair is supporting you, right? It's like your brand deals, your partnerships, all these things. I'm not trying to assume, but it's, you know what I mean? Your life is in a place where it is aspirational to people listening. What would you tell them, or what would you tell the younger version of yourself?
Just sit still and take a beat sometimes. Like, take moments to really process what's happening.
Yeah.
Take moments to really walk through the things that are happening and the things that you're going through. I think when my mother passed, I didn't really process those moments. And I talk to some of my friends now, and I even like listen to Megan Thee Stallion's story, because she's in a space where, she had said the other day after she had performed SNL, she was going to take a break because ever since her mom and her grandmother passed, she really was on go and tried to like suppress all her emotions into work. And I did the same thing, into work, into, material things, into whatever, because I didn't want to think about it. But I would tell my younger self and anybody out there, just sit still, try to be at peace, try to enjoy life, enjoy nature, find that healthy balance, and don't rush. Like, you have a lot of life to live. I tell myself that every day, because like I'm always like, oh my God, I'm not in the space I want to be in. But I'm also like, you're 27. Give yourself some sort of grace. You've made a lot happen in these past 27 years. There's a long way to go. Because I definitely feel like I'm still in the very earlier stages of my career. Some might see it differently, but I definitely feel like I'm still in the earlier stages of my career because of what I have planned for myself. It's much bigger than where it is now. For some people, this would be their end goal or this would be the peak. I'm nowhere near that because I see the long game and I see what I want it to be like. So yeah.
Yeah. What do you imagine that to be?
Oh my God. To be like, when you think of beauty from a male perspective, you think of me.
Wow. That's awesome.
hmm
I love that. Even the ownership of that, like, that's just so cool. I can see it. I can see it. I can see it.
And of course, like, it has its own umbrellas under it, whether it be like, there's like a show about judging, like not a fashion police, but that sort of vibe. Like I'm speaking to the beauty segment in that, or whether it be, I have multiple businesses in the beauty realm, or whether it be I'm judging a competition show, specifically around like fashion and beauty, or like, I'm doing panels or this, that, and the third. Like I'm, just in those different realms. And when you think of beauty, you think of me. Like when I think of style, first person that comes to mind, June Ambrose. Like law, like those people really have carved out lanes for themselves and really created careers that are undeniable, that are one of one.
Mm-hmm.
And you really think of them and they're always front of mind for whether it be brands, whether it be people, whether it be talent, the whole nine. When I think of beauty now, I think of Sir John, from a male perspective. I think of him. I think of Mario, I think of them. And I just think they've carved out really great lanes for themselves. So I want to follow in those footsteps.
Yeah.
Take it to the next level, but follow in those footsteps.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'm one of one. I'm the only one. Don't even waste your
Your time. Literally that. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. I mean, you're so incredible and so inspirational. And the thing I'm really grateful for is not just your time, but your ability to be able to share. There are so many people that are getting into this industry just trying to figure it out. And I find that when you don't know how to navigate it, you make, we were talking about, you make mistakes when you don't have mentors. And sometimes you don't even have, access to people. Even though social media exists, it's like people also are like, okay, who are you? You know what I mean? And you might not be able to ask the questions. So I've really tried to formulate and ask my audience what they're looking to learn. And I feel like we got it.
Oh my God, yay.
Yeah.
That's one thing I pride myself on too, is like being as open on social, because, I'm a part of the millennial world, but the very tail end, because I also, can jump into the Gen Z world. And that's, I've built a lot of my like career on social. So I try to still keep that floor open to like anyone aspiring to step in this space. We chat in DMs. I found it really personable to send them voice notes, because, you can't give your number to everybody. You can't do that. But like sending them voice notes or like video chatting with them on Instagram, like I find that to be great. And like you get to have that one-on-one experience and they get to feel like, they have a different sort of relationship with you. And that's where that trust comes in. That's where that bond comes in. And that's where you gain, people that genuinely support you, love you, and want to see you succeed. And when you, end up launching your products, they're the people that are going to be in stores first in line buying it.
Oh, for sure. Relationship is king. It's so important. And all of the relationships.
And some people don't understand that. They look at like, oh, let me just connect with the main talent, not the third assistant. I want to connect with a third assistant.
Yes, exactly. Everybody, and it's important to treat everybody with respect. I want you to answer just one more thing. Like in terms of wisdom that you've learned since you've been in this industry, is there anything that you would have done a little bit differently in terms of business? And the answer could be no.
It's a lot. I was trying to think of something, but earlier on, just being mindful of how I'm showing up, how I'm presenting myself, because I stepped in the celebrity world so quick, and I didn't have like there's no handbook. There's no like, okay, here's what you should do, here's what you shouldn't do. And I remember like I had one experience. I was out with Kaylani, a client of mine, and we were leaving like a party. And there was like paparazzi in our faces, and like I cursed them out. And she was, quiet, because most talent is like, I don't have much to say. I'm just going to the car. And like just in those moments, I was young. I was like 20 at the time and fresh, like fresh.
Brand new.
First experience at this. And I was like, I look back now and I'm like, oh my God. Now I'm the total opposite. I've learned that like I said earlier, take a beat, take a step, like understand that you are part of an ensemble. It is not about you, show up in ways that you are best representing the people that you work for. And then from a financial tip, save, 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 save.
Saving more is more important than investing, you think?
I mean, a bit of
in
both.
The beginning.
In the beginning, save. Okay. And then once you're at a space, and you can invest $500. Like once you're at a space where like you have money to invest. Because I think investments are key. And, I'm big on that. I'm glad now that I added a business manager onto my team because I think it's important in helping me really figure out like how to really multiply my money in different ways that I didn't know how. Because growing up where I come from, it's like, just keep your money in a savings account. Don't touch it. We need it for a rainy day, touch it. But I don't want to do that. I only want, maybe 4 to 6 months of expenses in my accounts that I can physically see. The rest are set up in whether it be, commercial real estate, a business, a SEP IRA, some other retirement account, a whole life insurance policy, like a bunch of different things, mutual fund accounts, stocks, bonds, everything, just so that like everything's growing in different ways. So when I decide to have kids and I'm 60, I can retire with whatever I want and my kids are set for life.
That's big. Thank you for that.
Of course.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming. This has been so beautiful.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Hey, you've gotten to the end of the episode, and thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of the It Takes a Village podcast community. If you're looking for a way to help us grow, leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. Every review counts, and I read all of them. Also, if you're feeling like leaving some questions, things that you want to hear me answer or ask in the next couple episodes, please leave that there as well. So that way I can incorporate some of my favorites. And if somebody came to mind while you were listening to this episode, please hit the share button and invite them into the conversation. As always, show notes are available at ittakesavillagepod.com. That's pod.com. You can follow me at Delina Medhin. That's DeLinaMedhin. Lastly, I just want to say thank you for being patient with me. This is an episode that I'm so excited to release. Being able to talk to people about their village, being able to connect with you deeply about your own village is something that I hope will help take your business to the next level. And that's really what this whole thing is about. It's what's driving me to continue to have these conversations. Hopefully these conversations are resonating with you the way they're resonating with me. I'm having so many aha moments during this show. And I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for the reviews. Thank you for the subscribes, the likes, the comments, but even just listening. Just listening means so much to me. And with that, I'll see you in the next episode.